It's
din,
been a
din. I
great
saw her
week.
sitting in the rain. Hi, y'all. It's the beginning of the podcast.
Raindrops falling on
It's falling on.
her.
Hang on.
Oh, hi,
Hang on.
y'all. Paul, you
I
look like
got it.
Peter Noon.
Hello,
You're doing the
everybody. It's
Peter
the
Noon
Cowsills
face.
Podcast coming to you from a nondescript location somewhere deep in the United States of America. And we are back.
I am really nondescript today, you guys.
Yeah, look at Susan for
You're North.
the visual.
Susan's up at the North Pole today.
There's a reason for this. I have the weirdest Zoom screen business going on. Watch, y'all. Watch. Paul, watch my hair.
Susan has
Okay, so
Excellent.
tomorrow before our next meeting.
Yeah.
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 I can stay put more. Yeah, it's good. It's working. So anyway, how are you guys? And what the heck is new?
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
What,
Go ahead.
Paul?
I got I love getting my COVID vaccines. I got my 7th one. And I was getting it from a nurse. And, I go, this is my 6th shot, right? And she goes, no, this is your 7th vaccine. I go, really? I go, well, how many have you had? She goes, well, I don't vaccinate. Okay. I went, oh, okay. But anyway, I took both shots. They wouldn't give me the RSV shot because it was too busy at the pharmacy. But I got these shots. And then the other night I was just talking to Bob and Susan about it. And man, I woke up with a chill and a stuffy nose that was to die for. But the chill was like I was Linda Blair in The Exorcist, because my whole body was just shaking from my neck down. It was the oddest looking thing that I'd ever seen. I saw myself in the bathroom, just shaking. It was so bizarre. But then I tell Bob about that. And he goes, oh, yeah, it's happened to me. And, it was the weirdest thing.
No, I'm vaccinated. I just don't. It's I got the shot, sure. And it could have been from that. I don't connect things really when they happen to me.
Oh, great. So you guys are all vaccinated up, and I am too, but not 7. But maybe this comes from COVID vaccinations. Who knows? Bob, when did yours start?
Well, that would make me feel good, because that means it's
when did yours start? Let's do some research right here on the spot. We're being very current, like a news show. When did yours start?
This has been over a year and a half. I've had these, and I could back it up to vaccination time, and I had COVID. Okay,
just to say, these things are going to have some kind of, could cause suicidal.
Oh, they could, yeah. I've done it. I've gotten the COVID and I've gotten the vaccine and my flu shot last year at the same time, and I didn't have any of this.
Yeah,
too crazy. Maybe it's Cowsills DNA old man stuff.
Well, no, you didn't have to go there for crying out.
I know. I'm a researcher, and he said, no, we're popping out of
with my right leg having a sciatica attack.
He was taking me away from my research. Okay, moving away from the vaccination connection. Let's move over to the potential of your DNA. What?
Oh, I was going to mention, we want to tell everybody about a guy named Matthew Street who did an incredible. So we went on his show, right? We went on as a pod. He was on our show.
Dudes. No. I don't think so.
No, Matthew Street was in the audience in our Natick, Massachusetts Christmas show, and then went to his studio where he produces, I guess, a podcast. We don't know.
Yeah, a great little podcast.
It looks like a podcast
from what I saw in that clip.
And talked about the show and Rhythm of the World, and it was so gracious and so wonderful
on YouTube, y'all,
that we all thought, well, that was really nice. And so Matthew, thank you. And if you just look him up, I'm sure this will pop up, whatever episode.
And
but
yeah. It's funny too, and it was Natick, and I remember the show in Natick, and I remember I was thinking, boy, we hope the sound is good, or boy, we hope this, we always worrying about what our show is, of course. And then to have him talk so graciously about it was crazy.
Was that the one where we were at that gentleman's house, the private?
No,
was Natick private, or
Natick
are we
was a Christmas show.
Where are we?
It was a Christmas show with the band.
It was a Christmas show at the PAC.
Yeah.
It
was fun.
Yep.
I recognize it because Matthew put up a little segment from the show at the end. That's where bands like us, you take a big gulp when that's going to happen, because he goes, well, I just happened to have a little cut from the show, and that's when all the things Paul just said, I hope the sound's good, I hope that this is good, I hope that that's good, come into play. And it turned out okay, but you do get a little
sounded great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, thank you to Matthew Street, not
Yeah.
Matthew Sweet, Matthew Street.
No, must not
Matthew
be.
Street did a sweet job, though.
Color.
Yay.
Nice work, Polly.
I'll say just a little housekeeping. We're coming to Tomball, Texas. Okay, we don't really play
Sweeping.
Texas much. Trio Christmas
Yep.
show
I wanted to show
at
something.
the crossing there, and
Yep.
it's going to be a good time. Paul says it's a dinner show, so you're going to be fed.
Also,
Yes.
it's a dinner show. It's a dinner
is.
show, darn it.
It is. And I do know that Mark Volman, okay, so the Turtles have played there.
What?
Yeah, because I was talking to Mark out on the tour, and I was saying, yeah, we got this Christmas show somewhere in Texas. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, Tomball. And I go, what? I go, yeah, did we play? I said to him, I go, have we played there? Because I knew it was a dinner club, and we did do a dinner club with the Happy Together. I go, oh, is that what? Did we do that show together? He goes, no, it was a long time ago.
Wow.
But they were there, so
Back
it
in
must be a
Turtle time.
happening spot.
Yeah, it must be. That's pretty cool.
I would like to just break a little bit here and ask you guys to look at my screen, because while I was trying to fix my
Hey.
screen,
I like it.
found this little little
Susan-
puppy there that I have
Susan's
on.
showing us a special effect, audio people, and if you want to jump to YouTube, you can go look at it. It's a cute little puppy.
Because
that's
my Zoom thing
spitting
is so
out an
messed up, you
umbrella
guys.
from
It's
its
just like,
mouth.
I
I don't
can't.
know.
I was researching. I found the dog. I thought I'd share. I'll go get rid of them. I don't want to distract.
Hey, does it look like your square is moving, Susan? Watch. Hang on. Are you moving around in your eyes?
No.
My Aurora Babiora is.
Well, I'm moving you all over the screen here.
I'm not moving anywhere.
Paul's having some private fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
None of us saw that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Tomball.
I'm sorry.
Hey, February 8th in Vero Beach. We'll give more detail on that later, because then we're jumping up to New York from there for February 10th. Another annual appearance by the Cowsills full band at the Cutting Room in New York City on a Saturday.
That's going to be so much fun. With Steve and Susie.
That's
Yeah, we're
Maybe
always there
Paul
on a
will get
Sunday,
out.
I think. Or
Maybe
so
Paul
we'll be there.
Go ahead.
What, Sue?
I was just hoping maybe you could get out a chainsaw or something fun,
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, very
and then
good.
the double cruise. We have double cruise coming at us. We have the 70s cruise. Hey, guess what I found out today, you guys?
What?
And we did it once at the Beatle show in Indiana or wherever we were, that Beatles show where everyone had to do Beatles songs in their set.
Abbey Road on the River.
Thank you. Where we worked up Let It Be, and everyone was shocked. They're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Let It Be was released in 1970.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, if we want to have a Beatles song,
Oh,
that's legal.
Oh, man.
Well, we're going to
That's
need
legal.
that. Yeah, I think we should do them all.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
yeah, there's a lot of Crosby, Stills, and Nash that was 70s.
whoa.
A lot of different things.
Yeah, we'll look into all that. Yeah.
We need to give the dates of both of the cruises, y'all.
It is March 14th through the 28th. The cutoff between
Or
the
the
cruises
Flower
is
Power?
the 21st is the day where one ends and the other begins. First is the 70s, and then the Flower
First
Power.
is the 70s.
Yeah.
Yes.
From
Yeah.
14 to 28. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a trip back in time
I
for
thought
the
it was
Cowsills.
backwards.
It's a trip back in time, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to hit 70s, then we're going to go back to the 60s.
And then Flower Power dates are?
That would be the 21st through the 28th. Could be off a day 22nd. I don't know. I think they do flip the boats in one day.
Crazy.
We're on the same ship. We're on the same ship.
Yes. Yeah. Because Mark Dawson from the Grassroots, I was talking to him, and they did it. They actually did the 70s and the 60s cruise.
That is
Copy.
cool.
And
How
Mark
did he
was saying
like
how
it?
funny it
Did
was.
they
They had to
make
get
it?
off the ship, and then they had to clear the ship and then get back on the ship, but the same ship.
Do you know,
Okay.
did you ask the detail of that, Mark, were you allowed to leave your luggage in your room that you're going back to, or did you have to take everything off with you? I'll be interested.
Yeah, I think you do.
Okay.
I think you do.
Yeah, you probably.
They'll let us
I
know
think you
that.
do.
Hey, one last thing too. So I got the thing from the Flower Power cruise. I got that email or whatever it was, but
Yeah.
I can't open it. it won't open up in any of the
Okay.
PDF thing, or
It's basically introductions. I'll forward from my email, Paul. Maybe it'll work because I do forward you stuff and you get them,
yeah,
right? Yeah, let me try it that way. Okay.
yes,
I'll
yes,
get that to
yes.
you. It's the
That
travel
would
form
be
you got to
great.
fill out, you know. But we can't fill it out.
Yes.
It's the next thing they need, and there's no rush. We want to do it, but we have to
What's it from? I'm
decide.
not showing.
Okay, so it's an email we got. I'll send it to you then too,
Yep.
Susan. And it's the standard travel form we get every year. Okay.
Well,
And
maybe Rusty has it. They might send it just to him. Who knows? Go ahead.
I'll re-forward it anyway. So it'll be on
Okay.
time. But
Okay.
we can't fill it out yet until we decide the hard decision about New Orleans, working these sets up, going there for 4 days, flying out there together to Miami, which we fill out that form and we're all coming out at the same time. You know what I mean? We got to make these decisions to fill that form out, and we got to make them anyway.
I really think we'd
Yeah.
be really biting ourselves in the butt if we don't make that rehearsal. So let's do it.
Okay.
It's very
We're
exciting.
going to do it.
We're gonna
Now,
commit.
okay, I'll re-look at that
flower
and
power.
forward detail about it. There was like, I'm assuming Mary Lassane's these rehearsals going to be at night.
Guys, we're having a business meeting in our podcast.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we're on the podcast. We're gonna.
Oh,
People, it happened to the three of
I'm
us.
trying to make it
We
entertaining.
started talking. Oh my God, I forgot we're on the podcast. Anyway,
Wait,
to finish the
Bob?
thought, Mary Lassane's going to have to work at night on these rehearsals. We'll go down there. There's 4 days that are good
It's
for
going to
us.
be amazing, y'all.
I think we can do it in 4 days. Okay.
Yes.
And
With
then-
everybody doing pre-work, it's
then
just
we all
like a
fly to
covered in
Miami
vinyl.
together.
It's okay. It can
We all
be
fly
done,
out.
but you got to have those 2 rehearsals. That's all.
We do.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
And we'll accommodate. So
we
that's
You
got
guys
to pick
are
the
so
songs.
excited.
huh?
We got
Yeah.
to pick the songs too. We need 10.
And
Oh,
we
that's
need
gonna be
10.
fun.
We
That's
need
gonna be
10
fun.
70s, correct?
Probably. Yeah. Now we already have. We think Let
So
It Be.
exciting.
I think I Love You. Okay, that's 2. I like the idea of Heat Wave by Linda Ronstadt. That's 3. Because Susan, that's a you song. We need to get you involved.
Country Roads,
Country
easy.
Roads, a lot. I like Rhiannon. I think that's a challenge, but I think if we start that, that would be so cool. Kind of like you've got your
For
troubles.
y'all?
I have that feeling. I love You Got Your Troubles, So anyway, and people
You got
can
your
write
troubles
in
in
and
the
suggest
70s?
things. Huh? What? And the
You
car
got
song
your
we like.
troubles is
Let the Good Times Roll.
70s.
Yes.
I didn't hear
So
Susan.
exciting. My brain is squirmulating, much
It's
like
you-
my Aurora Babiora.
Susan, I didn't hear what you're saying about the 70s, and I'm going back to it because I always hear what you're saying. So how did I not hear that? What did you say? You've got your troubles? No, I was using that as an example of a cool song that I had the same feeling when I hear Rhiannon. We can do that. And will you
This
twirl?
means more,
Yeah.
please.
Please, Susan, will you twirl if we do
Yeah,
it?
of
Thank
course.
you. Hey, did
Listen,
you see the new?
Stevie doesn't twirl anymore.
Did you guys see the new? Because you'll fall down. Did you see the new Stevie Nicks Barbie doll that looks like Taylor Swift to me? Have you seen it in the commercials?
No.
It's awesome.
Cool, though.
You will. You will.
Listen.
Anyway,
Listen. When I saw Stevie here at Jazz Fest with Waddy, and like she literally like will eventually go, all right, y'all, here we go, and she'll make a one around for everybody. Everybody goes, wow, and she gets back to work.
I'm
Cool.
glad you said that because I just felt bad about asking you to twirl like I was making fun of Stevie. And I
No,
said
it's a thing.
No,
And
I
it's a
said
thing
she'd-
for her too.
I
She's
said
like,
she'd fall.
real, y'all. Okay.
I said she'd fall if she tried it, was my point. I'd fall if I tried it. So I didn't want to say I'm putting her down. I'm glad she takes it that way. It's a
That's
good
old
attitude.
people telling old people jokes. We're allowed.
Good attitude.
Yeah.
We'll have some.
May I tell a little kind of trivia thing I found out today in regards to Ed Sullivan Show?
Please do.
Yeah. What?
Okay. So as we all know from earlier podcast days, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what was your experience on the Ed Sullivan Show? Then we started getting a lot of people who weren't on it. So that question kind of went away, even though I like asking it, even if they haven't been on it. It's just fun. But while going down the Yardbird thing to see when and where they went on, it showed that they were not on the Ed Sullivan Show. And that's always
Get that our guest. Go.
so you go. So now I'm like, why weren't the Yardbirds on the Ed Sullivan? I could not find, it kept showing me why the birds were. Okay. But so I stopped doing that. But what I came across is there were many groups that you would, why in the world, if all these bands are, these guys aren't? And here's a little bit of a list that I took down of bands who were not on Sullivan, and then I'll end with a Dylan story of the best why he wasn't on Sullivan. Okay, so not on Sullivan: The Who, the Yardbirds, okay, our guy today,
Foreign band.
the Kinks,
Guess who? For the Kinks.
Guess who? Buffalo Springfield, Otis Redding.
Whoa.
Okay, now, and Bob Dylan. And I'm like, what? Blowing in the wind, Dylan? Come on.
It's the Sullivan
Trio. But listen, here's the Dylan thing. Dylan was scheduled in 1963 to do Sullivan after a big concert he was doing in NYC. And he came over and he came on to do rehearsal, and he was doing a song called the John Birch Society. And you know that booth up there where you get your information? You will never forget the booth up there, right? That's where Peck and Preck, you know, the suits up in the booth said, you can't do that song, sir. That song is not going to happen. John Birch Society. And Dylan quietly, without a word, packed up his business and walked out of the Sullivan studio. And that's why Bob was never on Sullivan.
Wow.
By choice. His choice.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
His choice. Well,
it was his choice because it was like Barry at the graduation, our brother Barry, and his graduation of the Hollywood Professional School sang. Mrs. Mann asked him to sing. She was the president of our school, and to sing a lovely song for everyone. And Barry said, okay. And he got up there and he sang, I ain't gonna work on Bertha's farm no more.
Oh,
all right.
One of the early ones.
I can imagine Mrs. Mann now. She can't stop this moment.
Yeah.
She's not Ed Sullivan. Barry's on stage for the whole class. Anyway.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Ed Sullivan, who knew?
It'd be interesting to get to somebody like Bob Precht or somebody and ask him, like, because you knew Ed had to invite people. It had to pass his muster. Well, Ed, what was your problem with the Who? What was your problem with the Guess Who? What was your problem with the Yardbirds?
Right.
Yeah, and he probably said,
let's see if Mr. Preck is still
I had
alive and wants to come talk to us.
Spinning plates. There's only so much time on my show, and we would get that, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's still alive.
Who?
Bob
Precht. Precht. I don't think he is.
Wait, say it's P-R-H?
Precht. It was his son-in-law, and I don't think he's really around anymore. I guess we better. Our guest is going to come in here, guys, from France. People, our guest is in France.
Died in
Jim McCarty.
3 minutes. Jim McCarty of the Yardbirds. Now, this is very cool. Now, drummer. He's the original drummer. He's the only drummer. He's been the drummer in every version, every decade, everywhere the Yardbirds have been. Jimbo's been on the cans, and but he's a lot more than that.
And they started in 63, the Yardbirds, is that correct?
Well, their hits are awesome, early 60s. Yeah, we're 13, 14, 12. And, you know.
So I wonder if, and we can ask him, of course, but, you know, so did he see the Beatles on, isn't that much later? I mean, or did they start their band before the Beatles made it big? Because they were playing that club with the Rolling Stones before the Rolling Stones were Rolling Stones.
Right.
I think we were all fighting. Now, they only lasted 5 years, too, the Yardbirds. Everyone's fighting for space. And I think there was definite Beatle overlap, of course. Now, why they're not Ed Sullivan and Beatle are on 3 times is like, you know, the Yardbirds could be in the band sitting in and go, well, why'd you have to give them 3? We could have given 1 to all.
Well, we're going to ask him why he wasn't, you know, asked on. Like, do you guys know why you weren't Ed Sullivan?
Right. And did they start the band because they saw the Beatles or because they saw the Rolling Stones, or what got them to start the band? I wonder.
We get to go to the young stuff. I know we met the bass player in high school, maybe, but we get to go to the early stuff and find out how did you know, were you banging on saucepans at the age of 1? What's going on with the drums?
Right.
Yardbirds proper started in 63. His kid bands were earlier, you know.
So what was motivating them? Because the Beatles motivated everybody after 64.
Right. So who motivated them to have a hit? And great question.
But
write it down. Somebody take that. That's a
they
great
were poppy,
question.
but they started listening to. It wasn't Jimmy Reed, but somebody like that. I can't remember what they.
Well, they sounded like Stones to me, but I wouldn't say that.
He'll be able to tell us, but
Not when he comes
Yeah.
I
on.
don't know if we want
It's
to get
okay
it
to sound
because
like the Stones.
here's the deal, folks. Jim's written 2 books. Now, the first book,
This is the deal, guys.
the first book was all about the Yardbirds and being in rock and roll and doing it, as he put it, the best time of his life. And now the
Aw.
second book
I'll
is
have to read
not that
it.
at all. It's called She Walks in Beauty. And now this is about the worst day of his life when his wife passed, but it's going to open up this whole doorway into other things that we're going to get into that are pretty cool.
Cannot wait for that part myself.
Yep. It's going to be
Wow,
great.
a hush came across the room.
You know
It's
what? I
almost like-
purposely didn't say anything because I like silence sometimes.
Oh,
Like
me
when you turn the
too.
TV off finally at
Oh,
night,
well.
you go, shut up, but you turn the TV off. You ever do that?
You guys, we're on a podcast, and a lot of these people are audio, and we're all like, let's be silent.
Oh, that's right. No, I have to admit, 2 times so far in this episode, I've forgotten I'm on a podcast. And that's when we get into decisions and like we haven't even
Not
brought
on
up
this one, but I have done that before. I can promise you that.
where the conversation, I start thinking of like when you pass that exit and you didn't take it. Okay, here we go, guys. We got Jim McCarty coming in.
Jim McCarty,
there he is.
There he is.
Bravo.
Hey,
Hello.
Jim.
From across
Hello.
the pond. Look, this technology, this man is in France. And the technology is so incredible that he's in Woodland Hills, California today with me, and he's in New Orleans with Susan, and Oregon with Paul.
Really? Oh, she's in New Orleans. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome, Jim McCarty. We can't believe it. Yay! So are you
Thank you.
really in France right now?
Yes.
What time
Yes,
is it there?
I'm in the south. I'm about an hour up from Nice on the south coast.
Lovely.
Okay.
Jim has lived in France for 20 years, and I know this. So,
Oh,
Jim.
really?
yeah, Jim, here's the deal. We're going to get into the Yardbirds, and this, but not a whole lot, because we're really fascinated by your new book, She Walks in Beauty, and what that's all about. And that's
Okay.
that's
Yes.
yeah, if that's
So we're going to
okay.
cover it all, y'all,
But
guys.
Susan's going to
Okay.
start you off early because we're not reading much about the young Jim McCarty. So Susan, take her away.
Thank you. Hi, Jim. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So young Jim McCarty, you're born in Liverpool, right?
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
moved to London, right?
Yes, you know all that.
Okay. And so
Yep.
mom and dad, what are mom and dad? What do they do? What do your folks do? How do you come into the world? What kind of world are you coming into?
Well, we were very working class. My dad was he was just a bus driver actually, and my mum was sort of did odd jobs, but basically looked after the house. But we were we were quite working class, and we lived in like a suburb of London called Teddington, which is about 20 miles out from Big Ben.
Is that where the Teddy Boys come from? No.
Who comes?
Teddy Boys. I thought there was a group of British boys.
Teddy, yeah, well, there were Teddy Boys, but I don't think that.
Okay, I
Teddington
digress.
was.
Okay, so look. So, all right, so you have a pretty regular kind of life, but you're a musical entity. Is there music in your parents' background?
Yes, well, I don't know. I got into drumming because I was in the Boys Brigade.
Right.
I don't know if you have that in America, but it's a marching,
Right.
a sort of
Did mom and dad drum?
No, not at all. No, they
Okay,
didn't
so
get
no
into that.
music from mom and dad, no?
No, that's right.
Okay, so then my question to you is this. So here you are, Jim, with working class mom and dad and no musical background that you know of, because I don't think you guys, we get this just out of the thin air, but maybe you did. But before you became like a guy who thought he might want to play drums at whatever tender age, what did Jim McCarty want to be before he was a drummer? Or was
okay. Well, I was always good at maths, and actually I did go into the stock exchange for a while before I left my job.
Wow.
I was going to study to be an actuary, working out life premiums and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, look, you either start with music coming out of both ears or in both ears and right out the gate or not. So then, all right. So then I ask you, how did you become interested in music? How young or old were you when you knew, you can pick it, that you were a natural musician?
Probably a teenager listening to the radio,
But listening to what, we would like to know, because you're go ahead.
We used to listen to Radio Luxembourg. It was like almost like a pirate station, which I don't know whether it actually came out of Luxembourg, the country. It was all very odd, but it played all the great music, rock and roll music.
Like, give us an example of who you were listening to.
Well, we'd listen to Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers and
all American rock. Okay.
Yeah, all American rock and roll.
Right on.
So, well, Jim, so it didn't take the Beatles being on Ed Sullivan to get you into music. You were in it before that, right?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. We had a group at school, and Paul Samuel Smith, he was the bass player. We were at school together. And we used to play that early rock and roll stuff, Johnny Cash and all that.
Now, which band was this? What were you guys called? You have a lot of band names. The Renaissance, Illusion. Were you together?
That's before that. That's before we started to get popular. So we were called the Strollers, and then we were called the Country Gentlemen after the Gretsch guitar,
You're like 16. I had a single cutaway country gentleman, by the way. I thought that was a cool name that you guys had.
Oh yes, that was good. That was a good guitar as well, wasn't it?
Oh, winner. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so how old do you think you are when the drum brigade that you were speaking of, that's your entry into drumming, yeah?
Yes. So I just played the snare drum, that was easy. I played the marching drum and all the rudiments, but I was very good at it. I was the solo drummer.
Yeah. It was like
Go ahead, Paul.
It was like being on a drum line. In the U.S., they called it a drum line, where all the guys are on the snares. Just
that's it.
Cool.
And then I saw an advert in the local paper, and it was for a drum kit. And it was like it was like a very small kit. It was a bass drum and a snare drum and a hi-hat. That's all it was.
Wow.
And it was £11. Which was probably
that
a lot
wasn't
of money.
weight, people. That was a money comment.
11 quid.
Wow.
Can I ask just one quick drum brigade question?
Sure.
How many are in the drum brigade? 20 of you?
How many in the? Yeah, not many. No,
and
20 or 30, yeah.
And just from this snare drum tapping that you're doing this semester, you're getting a bug about drumming, and you're thinking you're doing it pretty good. Just from the snare drum, that's pretty good. You must really like Stray Cats later, probably made you think of that.
I love the sound of it. And I remember I was out playing when I was a kid. I was playing with some of my friends, and they said, "Oh, come around the corner. There's a band that's set up in the living room, and they're playing live." So we went round, and it was like in a little room, and they were playing the Shadows, and it was amazing to watch it live.
So now, and did you watch that and go, "That looks like fun. I want to do that"?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now your folks, were they enthusiastic about your hobby, or did you present this as a thing you were doing? Were you already old enough to do what you want, or were they influencing?
Well, not really, but my dad did lend me the £11 to
that's what I mean. That's what I was looking for.
Nice.
That's support. That's saying,
so they are backing him, Susan. Yes, they supported their son.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
God love
Glad
him.
to hear it.
Okay,
all right.
so you take this 11-pound drum set. I'm going to stop saying pounds because we're going to think it's a weight. Well, you take your new drum set. Are you playing with records? Are you at first? How are you using it? Are you have friends and this is go?
Well, yeah. We had a little group, and we used to we had a little record, like a dancette record player or whatever,
Sure.
and get the records in the local store where you could listen to them. You could listen before you bought them, and
Yes.
and then it was funny because I had a friend that was a guitar player, and his mother used to work in this holiday camp down in the west of England, down in Cornwall. And she said, "Oh, we need a little group to play in the bar." So we went all the way down there, and I put the drums on the train. I took the drums out the cases and put them in the train.
Out of a case?
No, in the cases, I put them on the train. So it was like a real Yardbird, that traveled on the train before it all happened.
That's amazing. Right. So, all right. Well, when do you decide, look, when did you have your first serious band that you felt like this is what I want to do? This is going to be, or did you know that you were going to try and make a career out of it? Were you ever thinking I better get a real job? How did it roll out for you?
Well, it was probably, once I got the job. After I got the job, I sort of used to hang out in a pub in the southwest of London, in a place called Kingston, and all these bohemian sort of people used to go there. That was artists and musicians and stuff. Yeah. And so I met up with the other guys for the band, and we formed the basic Yardbirds, and we heard this sort of R&B, we called it in those days, like Howling Wolf and Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, all that stuff. But Bo Diddley, we loved it, and so we started playing that stuff.
Yeah.
So is this like around 61, 62 kind of?
Around about 62, yeah.
Okay. Because I know your first hit was 63. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, your sound that you developed with the Yardbirds, because we were talking about it earlier, you were a little harder, than the pop that was going on at the time. Yeah. It had an edge to it where maybe, some of the other songs were sweet. A lot of your stuff had an edge to it. That's probably out of the musicianship for sure, and the writing, but that was a big difference for us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because all that stuff we covered originally, those Howling Wolf things and Jimmy Reed, it was all very, it was quite raw, wasn't it? The original.
It was great. We have the Jimmy Reed connection with you because when I was 15 and 14 and Paul's younger and Susan's not even on the radar, we went into a studio and recorded Bright Lights, Big City. And
did you? Great.
Yes, we did. He was a big influence on us earlier, and we were a harmonica
Nash producing, right?
Really?
Band back then.
Oh,
but
great!
anyway,
great! Yeah, that was one of our first songs, I think.
Bright Lights, Big City. Oh, that's crazy.
That was one of the
ones. You should hear these little boys' version, man. It kicks butt.
Oh yeah, we did a good job. We were very young.
But okay.
Anyway, enough of that. That's enough. So everybody. So we mentioned the Yardbirds, and look, everyone knows the Yardbirds, and a lot of the history is known. We're just zero in a few factoids. We won't belabor it too much because most of us are historians of the Yardbirds anyway. Some of us as much as the Yardbirds themselves and as much as Jim. So you can look up so much stuff about them, their hits and everything. But there are a few parts of it we're interested in.
Okay.
Paul had a good question, Paul.
Okay, you carry on. Yeah.
Well, so Jim, so you're in this band, the Yardbirds, and you guys roll through Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. I mean, those three guys came in your band and out of your band. And did you have any thought, like when all that was happening, I mean, whether you knew it or not, you were on the cusp of something. Did you guys feel that? Did you feel that, as these guitar players were rolling in and rolling out, you're going, wow, they're really good, and that they're going to make something out of themselves individually? Or were you guys just carrying on in life?
Well,
You know?
we just loved playing, and we loved the music, and we weren't really trying to be famous, but of course it
Gotcha.
was nice, Uh, but yes, I always say that each of the players were part of the team. It was a team.
Yeah.
It was a team effort,
Yeah.
and they sort of developed within the band, and you could tell that they were going to become solo because they
You
were,
kind of sound like the Cowsills. We weren't trying to be famous. I mean, I don't feel my brothers, they were just making this music. And next thing you know. But
Yeah. I'll tell you one factoid I was marveling at was in the literature, sometimes Led Zeppelin is referred to as, that they're an offshoot of the Yardbirds. Like, that's a hell of an offshoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
you hear that?
Well,
No,
they really just carried on with our repertoire. That's how they
Yes.
started.
Yeah.
Because we'd had enough of it and we dropped out, and so they carried on with those songs and then developed their own songs.
I know what. May I? So we've had the honor of interviewing other Hall of Famers, rock and roll Hall of Famers. I just love to hear somebody's take on how that felt, if it mattered or didn't matter, and you think it's BS or you think it's cool or whatever. You got it. How was it and how is it?
Being inducted, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a great honor, and it was funny because there was a sort of a bit of a jam at the end, and I noticed I was standing. I don't think I got to play the drums, but I was on tambourine or something, and I was standing right next to Johnny Cash. He got inducted on the same day, and we used to play his songs. I thought, oh man, I'm standing next to Johnny Cash, and we used to play all that stuff at school.
That's a huge thing. Yeah.
Can I? So we have yet another Jim McCarty Cowsill connection, because we performed on the Johnny Cash show, and I got to sit next to him on a stoop and sing a spiritual with him, and shake his hand. So we both have a connection. He's connected us now. I love that.
Oh, well, there you are.
We're big Cash fans.
He was great, wasn't he?
Oh God!
Oh yeah!
What a presence, huh? What a presence.
Okay, you've done your own solo work, right? You've made solo records, like we're all obligated to do, or some of us. The world looks at you. Are you happy with them? And again, obviously, you're not trying to, become the president. So do you like what you did? And
no, I just do it because I enjoy it. I like to sing, and I like to do those sort of songs. I mean, I don't really. I probably lose a lot of money doing it, because I'm funding it.
They love
it.
Some people travel, Jim. Some people spend their money on travel.
Not many people fly from France to do the flower cruise.
Oh, the flower
cruise.
Right?
I said flower. That's true. That's crazy. Okay, so listen, we got to get into something, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we do.
Jim is an author. Okay, in addition to everything else, he is actually an author. His first book, Nobody Told Me, as he describes it, was about the best days and the Yardbirds and all that you would think, the rock and roll life. You guys can go get that book and read about that era and his take on it and all that stuff that goes along with a book like that. But the next book, the Now book, She Walks in Beauty, it's called. This is the book that is getting everybody's attention because it is not about the best day of his life. Okay, it's about a worst day scenario where you lose your wife, Elizabeth, and it's going to start another whole journey for you. Can you just sort of tell us how that segues from the Yardbirds to this experience you're going to have, and how it took you further into this?
Well, it was quite an experience because obviously it was very tough, and I didn't really know what to do with myself, and I was grieving quite badly. And but Elizabeth and I were very close, and I thought, well, she has to be around. We were so close. She can't just disappear. There must be something else to this going on. So I studied a lot of near-death experience YouTube programs. Somebody like Eben Alexander, who's a neurosurgeon, and he had one himself. And he describes it all. And he says, well, my brain was dead, but I was still seeing things, and I was still, carrying on. My consciousness was still there. And then I got into, I even did mediumship courses and learned how to make that connection through a very good American medium called Suzanne Giesman. So I did courses with her on Zoom, during the lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
And I started to find I could communicate with Leslie in a way. And she was telling me things, and I was asking her for evidence, because Suzanne always used to say, you need to have evidence, from somebody that's passed over, something that you don't know. They've
Absolutely.
got to tell you something that you don't know. So she used to feed me things in my mind which used to happen, or I'd see something, she even told me about Charlie Watts. She said, Charlie Watts, and I thought, what's she saying, Charlie Watts? And this was months before he died. And it was right out of the blue, and things like that, and some very interesting things that are in the book, that happened about people that I would ring up and find out. Very interesting.
You have comments we read, like there's a world hidden just out of reach, and the thing about shadows, that's a scary word to some people. You say there's, you're traveling in that world. You're in there. You can tell us about that. I mean, when you say it hidden from us, just out of reach, that means it's within reach, or
yeah. Where's the door at, Jim? We all want to go through it.
Well, the door is actually in the heart. That's what I've heard.
All right.
So it's not the brain; it's the heart, and you have to get into the place, that very relaxing sort of quiet place, and concentrate on your heart, and really bring up things like gratitude, what you're thankful for, and things like that. And it raises your own consciousness, and then you find that things happen, and you notice these things. I mean, I'm no expert, I'm finding these things out.
No,
I've
but
experienced things. Yeah.
When you're writing a song like this song, guys, "Breath of the Wind," okay, this is a recent song, okay, and
lovely, Jim. I listened. It was lovely,
haunting.
Oh, thank
beautiful.
you, thank you.
But in there's a line where he says, "She tells me she's still around." Man, that is like, she did? How did she do that? Just by these, you know what I mean? I mean, I know it wasn't on the wings of the butterfly, but it's a beautiful lyric. But that's a heavy line.
Well, she just it's because what's happening. It's a mental thing. It's thought. I'm picking up a thought. And it's difficult to explain, but it's very subtle.
Okay.
And I'm picking up these thoughts that she's feeding into me. That's how I know, because I'm not.
I believe.
I'm not thinking them.
It's right.
That's right.
Hey, you guys. I mean, I personally, Jim, relate heavily.
Yes.
I've dealt with, had a lot of loss. I for fun, I sit with people who are crossing over. If they want somebody to hang out with, I'll do that. And I have heard things that would not come out of my head said by a loved one in their voice that were so astoundingly them, it is impossible. That whole thing with Barry, when the Jack in the Box, and he came up with the joke about, I was taking my brother's remains back to New Orleans, and he was in a box. And I was coming, it was a very emotional time, but we had just relaxed. Okay. He's there, we're going home. And a Jack in the Box, fast food joint goes by. And I looked at it because I'm marking my way home now. I'm kind of calm and everything's cool. And this Jack in a Box with the little head that bobs like this. I don't know if you've ever seen it in the States. And I hear in my brother's voice, and I'm numb, I'm catatonic, I'm just spacing out. And I hear, I've got a great idea. We'll make a franchise. It'll be Barry in a Box, and we'll feature formaldehyde fries and embalming burritos.
Now,
I looked at that box.
Yeah,
and
this is taking place in her car. It's her driving. Barry's in a box to her right in the passenger seat. I think
heard it.
I
had to pull the car over, and I had just gotten a cell phone because it was Katrina. And I'm calling my husband, and he goes, "Oh, I should have come with you." And I went, "Dude, no, it just wouldn't happen. I would never say such a horrible thing. Embalming burritos and formaldehyde fries. Come on." Yeah, and they know my brother, and that is exactly what he was trying to cheer me up. Why so calm?
Yeah, and the other thing is that it's always often quite funny because Lizzie does funny things. They're not heavy. There's something heavy about it.
Listen.
Right.
When we get on that boat, we're gonna sit and talk. I really love to.
But do you find, Jim, that the more you experience, like you said, you did you connected. Do you find the more you do that, it's easier to connect? We all could do it if we, but I think part of it.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's practice, like anything else. It's a
zone. It's a zone.
And
sometimes you wonder if it's so, for me, these moments occur in increments, then years will go by and I'll be like, did that actually, because some crazy stuff has happened that's tangible, it's real. I have a whole lyrics to a whole song that I didn't write. And believe me, don't blame me, I don't give a poop. So it's
has Elizabeth,
I get it.
Did anyone else come up to you and perhaps say that they connected with Elizabeth? Because I think that if someone can do that, she probably might have done it with her mother, or I don't know, anybody else connect with her?
Well, no, actually, nobody, apart from other mediums, mediums did it. It was actually, I had a session with Suzanne that I mentioned, Suzanne Giesman, and she had Lizzie come forward, and she said, well, I've got your wife here, and she said you've written her a song, and this was the song, and I said, oh yes, I have written a song, and she said, I'd like to hear it. So I sent her the song, and she said, oh yeah, that's beautiful, that's lovely, and so this is the song that
Was that Breath of the Wind? Is that Breath of the Wind?
Yes.
All right, so you guys can go hear that. You can go hear that song.
Y'all, it's remarkable if for however you can experience this when you have lost someone, because the big thing is you really feel their loss. My brother Paul always says he can still feel our brothers here. He doesn't think they're gone or dead. He just doesn't sit with it like that in his head. But it's like, and that's a kind of that's what he's right, because they're not, and his logical kind of, without tripping or going anywhere else, he's just saying the simplest of truths. He just doesn't feel them gone. And so, it's because they aren't. And how and why or what, I don't know if that you've gone further, but this is how, and that veil, that moment is so, it's just, continuum. I think that's what I think.
Yeah. And actually it's not like a place of judgment or anything like that. They're not, they're not suffering through sort of hell or anything like that.
I feel like they're there to help.
Yeah.
No, they're fine. They're fine.
And you're both
they're thriving.
They're great, and they know the big secret. This is what my brother brought me in a song. His line was, like you need to knock it off, quit with all the crying, wham, wham, wham. And he says, and I can't wait for you to find out what I found out. Wait and see, just wait and see. And it's this beautiful melodic moment.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's like, I know what he's, crazy.
All right. So then also there's a sense of humor at this place and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you get the book, hey, but She Walks in Beauty, Jim takes you through this in a way deeper way. I mean, we're having fun and laughing and
going out to get it.
But this is a serious piece of work here. So you can check this out and get into the deeper connection. There is a connection between the living and the dead. And this guy's going to show you how that's true and all that stuff.
Love it. I just love it. I love
back to the Yardbirds. So you play live still. Now, by the way, Jim has been the drummer in every version, every decade, every whatever of the Yardbirds. I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing.
I know. Because I met you, didn't I? I saw you on one of the cruises.
Yeah,
we're going to do it again.
The Flower Power last summer.
And he plays with our good friend Godfrey Townsend is our good friend we spend the summer with on the Happy.
Yeah, I know. Godfrey tells me all about you.
It's a lot of fun.
I bet he does.
No, he's a good guy.
Yes, we love.
Where are you playing that? Where are you playing next? Is it the Flower Power cruise? Where are you playing next?
Yeah, we're doing some dates in the spring around the cruise. I think.
Oh, that's cool.
On the East Coast.
Okay, everybody, you have.
But you're on the cruise, aren't you?
We're going to see you there. You and I are going to have tea. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, we're going to have a chat.
Yeah, I think we need a chat.
We did see the Yardbirds. We'd see the Yardbirds on the cruise. They are one of the hottest and greatest, most ridiculous rock and roll bands.
Great band.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And thank you.
I mean, it's an assault. I love it.
I love it too.
With John and Godfrey both on guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, it is mind-boggling what those two kids can do.
Yeah. They're good. They're good guys. Very good.
And then
nice little band. They're very good.
Very nice little band you got there.
The moment in the set where you're staring, you go, "I'm in the middle of a bass solo." I mean, you don't even believe that. You know, that guy's crazy.
That's right.
It's great. It's great.
All right, campers.
All right, so, look, you guys. Paul, you got some?
No, I'm listening.
Anyway, we got to let this man go. Look, author, historian, artist, current drummer of the Yardbirds. This is great at our
and
age.
a medium.
And a
medium.
And
an eternal. He's an eternal partner. No, he's got eternity from death do us part not. That's what they would have said.
A beautiful song. Beautiful songwriter. You can just at least go listen to Breath of the Wind. Okay, Jim. Go to that.
What was the video that you made, Jim, on that? What did you use? Did you use real cameras or what was that?
Oh, actually, it was somebody that did a podcast, American woman, and she just put it together. You know,
nice.
Did you film it on a phone or on a? Was it filmed on a real camera or on a phone?
I think she put it from the internet, you know. I think it was she got things off the internet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
But it was clever. It was very nicely done.
Yeah. It was. I loved it.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
Thank you
so much. Tell the South of France I miss it.
We'll see you in March.
Yeah.
Okay, I look forward to singing because I haven't seen you play yet.
Oh, you'll have to we'll put you on the guest list.
I want to. Put me on the guest list. I want to see it.
All right, everybody.
All right, guys. Much love to everybody.
Thanks to Jim McCarty, the Yardbirds.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
She Walks in Beauty. Go get that book.
Bye.